Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast, and today it is a 1 vs 1 on Kholodny Ferma between our red OKW player, SturmTigerSage, and on the left side of the map we have our blue US Forces player, TimetoShowSomeCock, and I have a serious philosophical question for you guys. When is it not a good time to show some cock? There's a question for you. And it is Kholodny Ferma, so we have our victory points going straight down the center of the map like so. We have a munitions point and a fuel point at the bottom of the map. Munitions point and a fuel point at the top of the map. Look at that. And we have rear echelon squads making some tank traps already for some excellent cover. 2 riflemen there on the way for the US forces. Sturm Pioneers have moved out to the first territory point. Unfortunately, didn't make it quite far enough to take that territory point. There they go. And 2 Volksgrenadiers to follow. Moving that Schwerer Panzer headquarters up, Schwerer Wehrmacht Schlepper up pretty quick here, and taking out the fence line. And that is a pretty interesting tactic, so his units don't get caught up on that when he's trying to get out of there, and trying to get in and out of this building. And we'll see how that works for him. Looks like he's going to take out this fence line too. He's just going to remove all the cover here, so his opponent can't use it apparently. Very interesting idea. And now the Volksgrenadiers here putting some sandbags down behind the tractor there, and some incomplete ghost sandbags to prevent his opponent rather from using those sandbags. And now Volksgrenadiers moving towards the center of the map, and riflemen moving towards the center as well, going to be trying to take this victory point. And meanwhile we have some riflemen up top here taking this munitions point and taking that fuel point at the same time. So the U.S. forces going pretty all out here. Sturm Pioneers now going to be taking the munitions point at the bottom and sending some Volksgrenadiers down to take the territory point. And putting some reinforced steel barricades here around that munitions point. Give his enemy a hard time. And now successfully taking that munitions point. And now moving on to that victory point. Already took that fuel point and the top territory point. So the U.S. forces taking a lot of territory pretty quickly here. And riflemen going to be battling out with the Volksgrenadiers. Unfortunately, Volksgrenadiers are inside the church, so they have the superior cover, but a little bit less firepower as there's less windows there. And so they back out for now, waiting for those riflemen to make a move. And looks like only one Volksgrenadier can fire at a time there out of the back window, so they have very, very little firepower against those riflemen. Volksgrenadiers have taken the bottom victory point there, putting some sandbags down. And that barricade there is almost complete. Rear echelon troops are now taking the territory point here close to the OKW base. And Volksgrenadiers backing out again and trying to make the riflemen make a move there by the looks of it. But they're pretty content there with their excellent cover. And now making a move towards the church and going to get it before the Volksgrenadiers do. And there they go now inside. But again, really only one can fire at a time by the looks of it. This church is better when your opponent is over here or over here for that matter. And rear echelon troops coming behind the Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers going to find some different cover here. And now 2 squads here firing at this one squad of Volksgrenadiers. So we have some additional Volksgrenadiers coming now. And Sturm Pioneers trying to back up the situation too. Battle group headquarters has been placed down towards the bottom side of the map here. And now Sturm Pioneers here going to move up to the windows and fire those STGs at the rear echelon troops. Riflemen have decent cover here and getting some shots in on the German army here, but the German army has some pretty good cover as well. So a good stalemate going on there. Now 2 riflemen coming down to the bottom. Riflemen got taken out here at the victory point from those Volksgrenadiers behind the sandbags, but now we have 2 riflemen here to avenge those that have fallen down at the bottom, and now forcing those Volksgrenadiers out of here. Going to take that victory point back. And Volksgrenadiers versus the riflemen in the church here. Only 2 left and very little health. So we're going to start losing those very quickly here. And Sturm Pioneers probably can move forward as only 1 rifleman is firing at a time here. So they'd be pretty much safe to do that. Now 2 victory points belonging to the U.S. forces. U.S. forces so far a perfect score, 500 to 454. And 1 rifleman running away. A tiny sliver of health barely survived. And now making some mines here, some M5 mines. for the OKW to wander on. And a pretty good spot there, right behind these sandbags. So as soon as he goes there, that is a pretty clever spot indeed. Now put some extra mines down here as well. Rifleman moving along and maybe taking the munitions point and the fuel point. Looks like they're going for that fuel point. And ISG out on the map for the OKW. And looks like the Rifleman placing some mines here, but may have been spotted there by the Volksgrenadiers. Not sure. Looks like that's slightly out of sight range. And now Rifleman pushing up onto the OKW here, taking that munitions point and the fuel point at the same time. And Volksgrenadiers here under fire from the Rifleman inside this house. Need to push forward a little bit. Could throw an incendiary grenade in there, but the Rifleman could simply just juke that out if they wanted to. And that ISG firing away on these Riflemen here. And forces the retreat. The retreat forces them all the way around this way, though. And that is not good. Unfortunately, for the OKW, he didn't have a lot here to really deal with those Riflemen as they are running. And he may be setting up a Schwerer Panzer headquarters as soon as he gets 80 here. Right at this spot, which would be a pretty interesting spot. Would cover the bottom here, and no troops could really get in there. And also, if any troops were right about here, they would also get shot at by the Schwerer Panzer headquarters. So that's a pretty good spot there. I agree with that. And incompleted mine here should cancel that, or at least complete it one way or the other. Get your munitions back. And now the Volksgrenadiers here pushing down towards the Riflemen. Riflemen have a decent cover here, better cover than the Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers have the numbers right now, though. And that M5 mine still incomplete. And needs to be canceled there. Get those munitions back. Use them for another day. And Volksgrenadiers coming up top there to take that victory point. But still only leaves the OKW with one victory point, 500 to 395. ISG now firing. Hits the cover, though.
Capture point is being overrun.
And thought about retreating those Riflemen, but decided against it there. And there he goes, almost destroys the cover entirely. Now the Riflemen running on home. SturmPioneers now moving down to the territory point. And Volksgrenadiers in chase here. And going to try and take this victory point. And not going to step on the mine by the looks of it. Meanwhile, up top, we have Volksgrenadiers taking the fuel point. And Riflemen taking the victory point back right behind them. So they must have just went right under them as they took that. So that was very interesting. SturmPioneers did walk on that mine there and took out one or two of them. Looks like this guy was blown to pieces, and this guy's almost about dead. Oh, those Volksgrenadiers, so lucky. Well, look at that, how close they are. And Volksgrenadiers in the center, taking this victory point. So 2 victory points going to be belonging to the OKW. So going to take away, tarnish that perfect score of the U.S. forces for now. And rear echelon troops and Riflemen moving in on the Volksgrenadiers. And meanwhile, taking that territory point at the same time. Rear echelon troops just going to charge them, forces the retreat of the Volksgrenadiers. Talking is hard. Riflemen coming down to the center victory point here. Just 2 men left here, and need the retreat. Going to eat that grenade. Oh, barely got out of there. That was really, really close. And Volksgrenadiers going to be running on home. 5 of them here, so not going to be a problem. Looks like the U.S. forces going to take back the center victory point there. And now a mortar half-track out on the field for the U.S. forces. Going to be firing back on that ISG. And almost hit it there. A miss just to the side of it. And Riflemen here trying to take this victory point. And can they last long enough to actually take this? Look at the SturmPioneers. Make it in there in time. And no, not going to do it. I'm not going to be able to take that victory point. It did fully neutralize it at the very least, so now the OKW are going to have to stand there for quite a while to take that back. And, oh, the mortar half-track takes a shot there by the ISG by the looks of it.
The capture point is being overrun.
Riflemen take a shot from that ISG and pins them entirely, and that is the exact reason why the ISG is getting a nerf. Volksgrenadiers moving forward. And going down to the, going over to the territory point here with 2 of them, and going right after this mortar half-track. One of them does have a Panzerschreck, and needs to move that back immediately, and gonna fire, and gonna take a shot to the front, but does not destroy it. Victory point belongs to the OKW. Top victory point trying to be taken by the OKW, but unfortunately I don't think that's gonna happen. Captain and the Riflemen here are gonna deal with the Volksgrenadiers probably pretty easily here, and yep, and gonna run away, and that victory point now gonna be back in U.S. hands. territory point being taken by the Volksgrenadiers, and this one as well. That's going to be taken and could back up into this building here and hold out for a little while, but 2 riflemen could easily just grenade and force these Volksgrenadiers out, and there's only 3 Volksgrenadiers left now. And holding out for a little bit here, but not going to last too long as their health is going down pretty quickly. And there goes that ISG again, suppressing all those troops, and just so overpowered. It's just so good. I don't know if you want to call it overpowered. I suppose you could, but it's annoying to say the least to get suppressed from halfway across the map over and over. Now the Volksgrenadiers moving back to the fuel point here. Standard territory point up there belongs to the U.S. forces. Rear echelon troops get forced out of there. Riflemen in the back. Somehow there's always riflemen in the back side of the OKW. It's very, very sneaky with these riflemen. And Sturm Pioneers here going to get rid of the M5 mine created by the riflemen there. Now that they have a mine detector. And this mine still hasn't gone off there down at the bottom. And up at the top, riflemen dealing with the Volksgrenadiers and forcing the retreat on these ones, but these ones up here still taking that fuel point from the U.S. forces. And meanwhile, the Sturm Pioneers have successfully taken out that mine there, forced away the riflemen, so now they can actually take the victory point, but looks like they're on mine duty right now. And now 3 riflemen moving forward. And one of them has that M1919. And Volksgrenadiers taking big heat here from that. Meanwhile, Captain holding out behind I think that's a Sturmgeschütz. Ooh, and takes a big hit there from the bazooka. And looks like they actually dropped the Panzerschreck there, but unfortunately still has a Panzerschreck in his hand, so that doesn't make too much sense there. I don't know what's going on there. Either that or another squad died there earlier. Riflemen taking that fuel point and trying to move forward on these Sturm Pioneers. Sturm Pioneers, just 3 of them, and one's holding a mine detector. And the Fuhrer has ordered him to hold that mine detector at all costs, even though his friends are dying around him. Hold that mine detector. Oh, you failed. You dropped the mine detector. 75 out on the field, firing back at this ISG. Need this mortar to fire on that as well. Need to get rid of that ISG. Just providing a lot of problems here for the OKW, and he has a second one up here as well, so 2 of them against the U.S. forces. And the ISG providing a problem for the U.S. forces. I think I said OKW there. And caught myself. Rifleman taking the top victory point here. So 3 victory points going to be belonging to the U.S. forces shortly, but it looks like the Volksgrenadiers may take this center victory point. Mortar out of place a little bit here and may get shot by that Panzerschreck, but they are suppressed for the meantime. We're going to take a little while to do that. Nope, gets a little bit too far out of range there. And I'm going to probably hop the fence here and get inside this building, and going to do exactly that. The victory point being taken by the OKW, and bottom being taken by the OKW as well. And it looks like that mine went off at some point there. You can still see some bodies crawling, and didn't actually see what hit that mine, so that's unfortunate, but that's all right. And Captain right up on this building here. Now a 4-star Volksgrenadier. Rifleman moving forward and going to bail this Volksgrenadier out of here. He needs to hop the fence and get out. And the Rifleman going to take the place of those Volksgrenadiers and going to start peppering up as they try to leave there. And now Volksgrenadiers hiding behind the tank trap while taking that territory point. And Rifleman coming from behind again. Oh, there's always some Rifleman behind this OKW player. It's very, very strange play. How he's always just managed to get behind him there. Sneaky, sneaky Rifleman. And now taking the munitions point, the territory point back. The whole top of the map belongs to the U.S. forces. But now the center and the bottom belong to the OKW for the most part. And now even trying to take some of the territory points here near the U.S. forces. And this mortar half-track really just not cutting it. 4 kills is 1 star. Just really not doing too much so far. And so far doing pretty good. The U.S. forces doing all right so far, 436 to 347. And the OKW successfully has taken this territory point. Now using that Shrek to take out this munitions cache over here. And the problem with this particular commander of the U.S. forces is it's pretty nice that you get those mines and you get those M1919s, but the problem is that if you plant mines, then you really don't have enough munitions for the M1919s or bazookas for that matter. So you pretty much have to rely on your captain for bazookas because you just use all your munitions on the mines. You need 70 munitions per M1919. The A6 there. And Captain moving out, going to be taking back this territory point, and all the U.S. forces guarding that munitions cache. And these two ISGs racking up quite a bit of damage and kills here. Only 3 and 4, but did quite a bit of damage, has a decent amount of experience. And overall, just causing a lot more havoc than kills, really, with the suppression and the pinning. Smoke going down here, dropped by the rifleman, and there's even more munitions down. So the U.S. forces are just so munitions hungry. And the Major has gone inside the building here, and that's sort of strange. And there goes that delayed fuse, and explodes there, but totally misses that infantry support gun. And for some reason, the Major's in this house, and the house is about to fall, so that's not going to be the best place. Panzer IV, Ausführung J out on the map. And now the U.S. force is in a little bit of trouble here. Doesn't really have any armor to deal with this. Doesn't really have any anti-armor for that matter. Oh, it takes a shot from that 75 there, right in the side armor. Did a small sliver of damage. And now bringing out a 57 to deal with this Panzer. And Rifleman here really low. May lose this Rifleman, but going to make it home. And now trying to take this center victory point for the OKW, 426 to 342. Pretty close game so far. 52 munitions per minute here for the U.S. forces, pretty high there, 26, and even the 31 munitions and 17 for the OKW. And I'm not sure if he's actually transferring or not. Doesn't look like he actually has the mechanized headquarters there. Panzer IV finishes off that territory point with the help of the ISG. Finishes off the munitions cache, rather. And now the U.S. forces coming to avenge that, bringing that 57 down to deal with that Panzer IV, but unfortunately Panzer IV is already long gone. And Volksgrenadiers taking the fuel point, territory point, and meanwhile Riflemen behind the OKW once again taking that victory point. Very strange Rifleman play this game. I don't think I've ever seen so many Riflemen sneak behind like that in a game. Not that it's too hard, I suppose, but it's just very interesting that it's happening so much this game. And Riflemen versus the Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers have a bit better cover there, slightly, kind of. And a grenade landed right on the ground there and ran over it, taking out 1 or 2 of those members, and now running on home. And now Riflemen successfully defended that bottom victory point, and they do own that top victory point too. Bunker now being created here with an MG42. And that's not going to cover too much. I think it's just going to cover right to about here. So, still not going to cover the center victory point, but we'll cover the infantry support guns if any troops decide to come this way, through this way. But I'd figure they would come around the bottom, but there is that Schwerer Panzer headquarters. So, really excellent defense so far by the OKW. And now Riflemen dealing with the Volksgrenadiers here, and Volksgrenadiers on the wrong side of cover. And if they get on the other side of the cover, they're going to have to deal with these Riflemen. Oh, Volksgrenadiers ran over a mine there, and almost ran over another mine. If that mine was placed a few feet over to the right, would have taken out this whole squad. That would have been an amazing mine placement. Riflemen now going to be trying to take that victory point and going to hurl a grenade in this church here, and looks like they're going to eat that. Not going to get out in time. Takes out 1 of the men and heavily damages the whole crew there. The victory point being taken back by the OKW and the bottom territory point there as well. Meanwhile, the mortar half-track setting up into position. U.S. forces successfully taken the center victory point. Now still 2. So far, the U.S. forces haven't holding a lot more victory points this game. 423 to 307. The OKW still isn't out yet. That Panzer IV being repaired up is almost a 1-star veteran. Has 6 kills. And that mortar dropping some smoke by the looks of it there. Or perhaps just an incendiary. Yeah, dropping some incendiary. And trying to burn out that ISG, but really all he's got to do is back up a little bit. Now he's got to move forward a little bit. And ISG burning up pretty bad there. Oh, Volksgrenadiers running right through that phosphorus fire. and took about half health and almost decrewed this entire infantry support gun, and gonna lose one man here. He's just standing over there. He may actually lose that. It's so low on this whole crew. Only one tiny little pixel length, and a sneeze would probably decrew this whole thing. Panzer IV up top here, and must have chased away some troops. Didn't really see it. A Jackson tank destroyer now going after this Panzer IV, and we'll see who wins out on this one. And some riflemen going up there as well. They do have a bazooka. And now the Panzer IV really needs to get out of there. The Jackson tank destroyer gets a shot in the rear armor there. Takes about a quarter of its health off, and maybe a fifth of its health. And now a bazooka going to hit. Now down to about a little bit more than half health. And now the Volksgrenadiers coming up to try and defend that area there. And we have some Volksgrenadiers here trying to take some territory over here. Had to run all the way around. And those ISGs still firing away. And medics healing up this ISG, and it was so low. I think that's the lowest I've ever seen an ISG there. And Panzer IV now being repaired back up, that mechanized regiment, and he is fuel transferring. So he does have 23 fuel per minute there, not too much, as he only has one of the fuel points. Could if he has both of those fuel points there, that'll bring that up pretty dramatically. And Volksgrenadiers trying to take the center victory point, but get pinned instantly there by that 75 by the looks of it, and it forces them to retreat out of there. Here comes some Volksgrenadiers. The Jackson tank destroyer is set to vehicle priority there, so not going to be firing on those Volksgrenadiers.
Artillery batteries are armed and ready to fire.
Panzer IV moving back there, was going to move forward a little bit, and those two riflemen, looks like they took an ISG, both of them, and pinned the whole squad. Major now moving out, see what he's going to be doing, and Volksgrenadiers forcing the rear echelon troops going to be taking this victory point for the Germans, and the center as well. Oh, and Volksgrenadiers takes some wicked shots there. Down to 2 men in that squad. Still can't take this victory point. Just too much artillery blasting away on that bottom there with that half-track. With the combination of the half-track and that 75 there. A little bit too much damage whenever they try to take this. And Captain going to receive the 2 ISGs now. And down to 2 men in that squad, and retreats out of there in time. 57 being brought up, and fires at that Panzer IV there. And riflemen moving out. And if they're going to move in, nope, not going to move out. Going to back up a little bit there. Too much ISGs firing on them. They're going to move that 57 a little bit forward. And Blitzkrieg's out of there. Or rather, the combat blitz for the OKW, but it's Blitzkrieg. And now Volksgrenadiers now taking that victory point and not going to make it. And now the Russian, or the riflemen, U.S. forces, is going to be taking the victory point. So it's just go falling back and forth here. MG42 here firing, and they're just in range there. Rifleman taking heat, down to 2 men in that squad, and may lose this squad here if he doesn't retreat that out of there. 1 man left, and if these ISGs fire again, may lose it. Nope, gonna run away just in time there. And mortar's still firing away. Five-star Volksgrenadiers firing at the riflemen. Riflemen take a shot from that ISG, forces them to be suppressed there. And Panzer IV now firing away on them. And where is that Jackson tank destroyer? Needs to move up and fire on this Panzer IV. Now we have a priest out on the field, so now some real artillery is out on the field and trying to bombard this battle group headquarters, which I'd like to really see bomb that infantry support. We don't really want to waste a cooldown, I suppose, on that priest there, on something that can just move out of the way, but it would be really nice to take out these ISGs for the U.S. forces. It could really do a lot of work if those weren't there. And now the Panzer IV chasing the Jackson, just needs a couple more shots. And what is this Panzer IV doing? He's going to get shot in the side there by that Jackson, and needs to back out of there, using combat blitz to get out. And now moving Hall in here. And Volksgrenadiers have successfully taken that center victory point, now owns 2 of the victory points on the map. Bottom victory point is neutralized and is being taken as we speak by the U.S. forces here, by the rear echelon squad, now owns that. And Panzer IV heavily damaged here, and engine damage as well. Volksgrenadiers now coming to the center to retake this. And Captain needs to run on home there. Ew, and takes a shot there. That one guy not so lucky, falls to an ISG shot. And Priest trying to recharge there. Needs 10 seconds left before it can fire again. And he may be firing on that battle group headquarters again. Needs to start repairing that up, but unfortunately just has one Sturm Pioneer out on the map by the looks of it. No Sturm Pioneers. He's just repairing with his mechanized regiment. And is the Priest firing now? Looks like it is firing. And we'll see where it's actually firing. It looks like it's firing on the ISGs now. Nope, firing on that battle group headquarters again. And here comes that Panzer IV, now a 2-star veteran, and 2 riflemen moving out to try and take back the top side of the map. And we have the Volksgrenadiers up here trying to take the fuel point back as well. And that Priest doing work on this battle group headquarters, and not going to last all that much longer, down to maybe a third of its health. And Panzer IV takes a shot from that Jackson there, and is just taking wicked shots here from that Jackson. Doesn't really realize it's getting shot at sometimes. And now the engine damage, can't use combat blitz to get out of there. The Jackson going to be moving in on it. And we have some Volksgrenadiers here coming to defend. And that Jackson, oh, so little. Just one more shot from pretty much anything. Even a bazooka hitting the front would probably destroy that. And Captain in the center here. If the Captain would have just moved forward and hit that with those 2 bazookas, would have finished off that Panzer IV there. That would have not have been good for the OKW, although it looks like he can afford another one, but doesn't really want to lose that 2-star veterancy, a 2.5-star veterancy, almost level 3. And Volksgrenadiers now taking back the territory point on the bottom. Tucking is hard. And Volksgrenadiers taking that territory point here as well. We have some riflemen coming to defend. And just going to retreat those out of there, as there's 2 of them versus 1. Doesn't really want to lose too many of those. Priest can fire again whenever it is ready, and going to be fired in that battle group headquarters. One more volley here should take that out. A couple more hits, a couple more direct hits would finish that off. And here comes that Priest firing. And it does look like the Priest there. Looks like it's firing on the bunker this time. Either that, yeah, indeed, firing on that bunker now. Finishes that off. But could have easily finished off that battle group headquarters instead. I don't think you really needed that Priest to finish off the bunker. Could have used the mortar and the 75 to take out the bunker. Rifleman forces the retreat of these Volksgrenadiers here in the center, but the OKW does own 2 victory points. However, the Rifleman here going to end that pretty quickly here, neutralizes that, but I don't know if he's going to be able to capture this or not. He has a couple ISGs firing on him, or at least 1 ISG, and Volksgrenadiers on the way, and if they get in the center there, they'll stop that. And these Riflemen here are 3-star, and they do have that M1919, and just to a no-star chump Volksgrenadier brigade there, and they would have done pretty well if they would have stayed, actually, even though they were pretty injured. And 57 set up there, and this Panzer IV is doing pretty well, but every time it moves out, it just takes quite a bit of damage. And except this time, he's going to be backing up. He's going to be going this way instead. Captain is going to be aiming those 2 bazookas. 2 bazookas fire on that Panzer IV. Doesn't do too much damage, though. Not too big of a deal. And I'm going to force that Captain on out of there. 24 kills on this Panzer IV. And even all that damage it's taking is raising its veterancy as well. So, very nice Panzer IV out on the map. Volksgrenadiers here firing with the rear echelon troops. Unfortunately, they're in negative cover, so actually taking quite a bit of accuracy. And now we're going to be moving right on these rear echelons. One of them has that mine detector. They're going to run away. Just 3 men in that squad firing away. And Panzer IV up top now, and slight damage on it. Volksgrenadiers moving in on the Major, 3-star Major out of the field here. Very interesting. And actually using that Major as an attack force, which is very, very unusual. Usually people just use it simply as a retreat point. Sometimes they use it for the artillery, but you rarely see that either, because you have to get pretty close to use it. And most people just don't really want to micro that way, and usually have a commander that can artillery anyway. Volksgrenadier moving into the center, and there's 2 riflemen here, but the ISGs are very close, and that priest firing away on this ISG. ISG needs to move out of there. That priest is going to get a lucky hit sooner or later here. And oh wow, what, that is the lucky hit there, just as I spoke, and he moved it forward. Oh, and he destroys yeah, he destroyed the ISG there. And now the major moving forward here, a 3-star major, and has the retreat point will lock down friendly territory, and very interesting 3-star there. And now 2 Volksgrenadiers here taking the top of the map, the center of the map here neutralized, and the major still chilling in the center there. Panzer IV now moving forward, and there's not too much for it to really do too well here. Gonna aim at the major. We may lose this major. Really needs to retreat that immediately. And the major just not a very good fighting force, mainly just for the artillery and the retreat point there. So I don't really know why he's using it as a fighting force. It just really is pretty much a moot thing to do, as it really never really kills too much. The Jackson here gets a shot in on that Panzer IV. Panzer IV, one more shot. If this Panzer IV takes another shot here or shoots something, it should be level 3. Level 3 veterancy now on that Panzer IV. And level 2 veterancy on the Jackson, but looks like you may lose this Jackson if that Panzer IV fires again. And no, just barely going to save that. King Tiger now out on the field here.
Battle damage estimates show the enemy at 300
And now the all 3 victory points here belong to the OKW 250 and 298, but going to be taking down that U.S. forces score by 3 at a time. And Volksgrenadiers here are pinned by, I believe, that 75. Firing away on him, and there it goes, pins him again, and now needs to pick up and retreat, go on home. And that battle group headquarters still alive there. I figured that priest would just focus on that again, and now that Panzer IV being repaired up. King Tiger out in the field and pushing towards these troops, and that bazooka has no chance and just retreats that immediately. We have a Sherman here and that Jackson tank destroyer. I don't think it's going to be enough really to take out the Tiger B. It's going to need a little bit more armor than that, but really just doesn't have it. It's floating 600 manpower though, so it could bring out another couple, 1 or 2 more 57s, and that would help a lot. Or perhaps 1 more 57 and maybe even a 50 cal would be nice to stop the advance of all these troops. But with those 2 ISGs, that's going to make it kind of hard to do. Well, actually just 1 ISG now. And King Tiger going to fire at that Sherman. Sherman takes a massive hit there. And Jackson going to be backing up too. And King Tiger, no fear, just going to be going forward here. And Sherman in danger. 57 firing away though. And he needs to use that armor-piercing shot. And Jackson firing away here. And Jackson very low. 1 more hit may kill this Jackson. And, oh, abandons the Jackson though. And now the Panzer IV pushing forward as well. So King Tiger and King Tiger actually is very, very low on health. He needs to get that out of there as soon as possible. And oh, 1 more bazooka hit may actually finish it off here if it just doesn't deflect. And this is King Tiger gonna, oh no, another deflection. And so low here. May take 1 or 2 bazooka shots. It's hard to say. And loses that. Bazooka is up for the taking. Volksgrenadier squad could probably take that. Except there is that machine gun emplacement that's going to be firing away on those Volksgrenadiers. Panzer IV here pushes forward on that priest, takes out the priest, now going to be trying to take out the half-track. And doesn't look too good now for the U.S. forces. Doesn't really have any more armor left on the field. All the Sherman and the Jackson finished off. The mortar, the priest finished off. And now just 57's out for our U.S. forces, but now that he's low on troops, he does have quite the high manpower income, so he could bring out enough 57s and probably bring out more riflemen here to deal with this, so he's really not out of the game just yet. 250 to 238, and that Panzer IV firing away on these troops point blank, and they don't have too much of a way to deal with this. There goes an anti-tank rifle grenade, damages the engine, a 5-star Panzer IV now. And just taking big heat. And the bazooka there has been dropped on the ground. Needs to reinforce this squad here. 57 has been brought out. And not even reinforcing the squad. There it goes. Now we're reinforcing it, but a little bit too late. And just doesn't have anything left on the map here. Just has, that rifleman was finished off. Bringing on another rifleman here, but I think it's not going to happen. and says GG, leaving SturmTigerSage the winner of the game. Just both played pretty well there, but at the end, all that armor got finished off. I think the priest didn't really wasn't very efficient enough, and I think he should have really focused on this battle group headquarters, which would have stopped this retreat point, which would have made these troops have to run a little bit further, which, although that isn't too much further, it does take time. They'd have to run all the way back here and then all the way back forward. It wouldn't have that healing anymore either. That would have slowed his opponent down quite a bit if he would have just focused that priest on that. And I think the mortar half-track, I just don't think the mortar half-track is really worth it. I think a 75 is better, is a better choice than the mortar half-track. And so I think 275s would have done him a lot better too. Said GG, but hasn't left so far. And may try and stay in the game here. Volksgrenadiers taking this territory point here, and the 57 taking the field point, but unfortunately Volksgrenadiers coming up on them. Need to turn this lieutenant around. Lieutenant chasing that Panzer IV, but with that bazooka, not really going to do it. Just can't catch up to him. And the Volksgrenadiers in front as well. Gonna have to retreat that lieutenant out of there. And now all the Volksgrenadiers pushing forward here, but gonna get pinned up on all these machine gun emplacements. These just go down here a little bit, as there's no machine gun placement down here. It only reaches to here.
Smash their lines. Americans have 200 points remaining.
Volksgrenadiers all running home, and see if these Volksgrenadiers didn't have this battle group headquarters, they'd have to run all the way over here. And now our U.S. Forces player surrendered the game, leaving SturmTigerSage the winner. Again, I think if this was destroyed, that would have definitely helped them out a lot. That would have slowed down all of these troops for the rest of the game. Probably wouldn't have made another one. And if he did make another one, it would have costed him 200 manpower and an additional 40 fuel. Would have had to wait for the Wehrmacht Schlepper to come on out and make another one. So it would have slowed him down a lot. And I think the mortar half-track just isn't a good choice. Like, I've tried to use the mortar half-track before, and it's just plain mediocre. It just doesn't really do the job. The Wehrmacht's mortar half-track is a lot better with those incendiary barrages that are it's just a lot better, the incendiary barrage for the Wehrmacht, rather than for this mortar half-track. I think 275s would have done a lot better. And if you would have been aiming the whole time on these infantry support, rather than aiming on just the regular infantry that have been moving around the map, if you would have just taken out these infantry support guns and finished off this battle group headquarters, I think he might have actually won the game. But really hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.